You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars and by Wellington Anti-Aging. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Got a lot of football going on today, Diener.
That's correct, sir.
Dang. Also good. Also good. We're going to be talking Dolphins coming up here. Tom Brady. Is the season already wearing on him, and we haven't even started yet? We'll get to that.
He just sounds done.
Talk a little bit about O.J. Simpson and the great Sacha Baron Cohen punk interview he did with him, trying to get him to admit to killing his ex-wife. Also going to be talking some football. St. Thomas Aquinas coach Roger Harriet's going to be joining us coming up. Going to get some starting quarterback info out for the Canes, Knowles, and Gators. Let you know who's going to be starting coming up on Saturday, and also give you a little rundown of all the high school stuff as well coming up today. The Dolphins. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually perfect analysis.
I don't know, man.
That was it, yeah.
I just don't know, dude. I don't know of many teams I'm seeing in the preseason, and I'm not watching everybody. I mean, let me just be square with you on that. I'm not seeing everybody. I've seen probably about 5 or 6 different teams, and I'd say probably the Dolphins impressed me the least out of all that I've seen. And I know it's preseason. Don't get too ginned up. Don't get too depressed either way. But they lost their 3rd straight, and they were playing their starters pretty much against the Ravens JV, which I think is the headline to pay attention to. So, there's some things to look at there. Dolphins offense started out 3 unsuccessful drives. Took them a little while to kind of get going. When it's all said and done, Tannehill was 11 of 16, 115 yards, 110 passer rating. So, that kind of stuff's good. He's right now at about 99 for the preseason. Okay.
It's fine.
Tannehill's not the part that, I think makes you feel, what? But there are just, some parts of it. Amendola was cool.
Yes.
Gesicki got his first catch.
Finally, they threw to him.
Some highlights there. I think you got to feel good about Kenyon Drake. 30-yard run, 36-yard pass.
Yeah.
Some of the highlights. So, I mean, that was okay. Defense, I watching the Dolphins, I think is alarming. Man,
really?
The center of that line, it's like butter, dude.
Oh, the defensive line is a little concerning. I will say this,
a little
bit.
Dude, they're getting gashed every game for massive runs. I think that guy was, what was he, like a 6th-round pick that gashed him for 65 yards or whatever?
I'll be honest, I don't even know who it was, the running back on the Ravens. I have no idea who it was. This guy's running for a touchdown.
DeLance Turner.
Who is that?
He's a guy from Florida, 6th-round pick.
He's from the Gators.
Yeah.
Okay, you and I are...
Never heard of him.
We're college football nuts.
I know.
You and
Never
I.
heard of him.
We have never heard of this guy. And he ran for a 65-yard touchdown against the Dolphins' defense. Now, at that point, it was the 2nd and 3rd string that was playing for the defensive line.
Yeah, okay.
But still, but gosh, man. Twice. You see this twice in the preseason.
Yeah, and it's not even just that, and you can say, hey, that was like 3rd string or whatever. But, I mean, still, if you look at all their defensive units, the Dolphins right now are the worst defense against the run the preseason.
No, that's not good.
136 yards per game. So, I mean, that's everybody included. So, to me, I think that's really the alarming thing.
You know what's funny, though, is that Robert Quinn and Cam Wake, they look good on the ends. They get to the quarterback.
Yeah, and I even, the commentary on this is realistically, they might be top 3 defensive end units in the NFL. That part of the defense, you look at, you're like, okay, cool, the ends are fantastic.
Right.
So, what are you going to do if your opposing offenses? We're just going to pound it up the middle. Stay away from the ends. Don't let them collapse on you, and let's just gash them.
That's where the linebacker play has to improve now.
Right.
That's what it has to be. I mean, Raekwon, Kiko.
You got Kiko, who looks okay when he shows up to the right sideline.
Yes, there's that.
But the other 2 linebackers, and I hate to, it's my boy Quan de Truth, Raekwon McMillan.
That's right, Ohio State guy.
And Baker from both Buckeye guys. I don't know. I don't know where these guys are.
I would say the final word on Raekwon is definitely, it's not out yet because, look, this is a guy that the Dolphins got with a pretty decent draft pick a couple of years ago. And, I mean, he gets hurt in the first preseason game last year, so we didn't get to see him at all. This is essentially his rookie season. So, we have to give a little bit of time, right? I mean, he could end up being good. He's a high draft pick for a reason. I mean...
He's a great team leader. He was, I just know from watching him for years at Ohio State, he ran the defense. He was solid. But on the defense for Ohio State, the linebacking core has been the weak spot of that defense for a couple of years. The Raekwon McMillan years and the Baker years, Jerome Baker years, were the years that the Buckeyes were soft at linebacker. They were great at every other position on defense.
See, and
That's where you would gash the Buckeyes, was at linebacker.
don't do this to me, Kev. I'm trying.
I'm just telling you. I'm giving you the Buckeye perspective of these two guys who I've seen play a ton of games. And I think physically, at least with Jerome Baker, I think he's a physical freak, maybe slightly undersized, but I think he's got some skill. But for whatever reason, I don't know. It just didn't seem to equate to stops that you want.
I would say the verdict is still out on these guys.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's premature.
Let's give it a few weeks of the season, like we talked about it, I think last week, on how this schedule plays out for the Dolphins in the first few weeks. I mean, you have Titans, you have the Raiders, I believe you're at the Jets. So I mean, it's a pretty favorable schedule as far as win percentage goes of teams that you're facing. I know the Titans made the playoffs last year, but I mean, come on, it's not like there were world beaters going into the playoffs last year. So they have opportunities to start off the season to kind of show if these guys are going to be able to get the job done. And I hate putting so much stock in the preseason. As disheartening as this preseason has been, I try my best not to overreact. Even when you have the first drive of the third preseason game where it's essentially the dress rehearsal, go for a fumble, a negative, a sack, negative 2-yard run, I believe, by Frank Gore, and then also an incomplete pass. So you have those things that make you crazy, but it's just you don't want to overreact too much.
6 for 36 on third down.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, that's for the entire
That's
preseason.
turning into a massive problem.
That is bad. I will say this, preseason or not, okay? Preseason or not, I'll be fair. That is a big enough sample size where you can say to yourself, at some point, first, second, third string doesn't matter. You have to be able to convert on third downs.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, and the big story, too, is they're putting themselves in long.
Yes.
Not the kind of third downs you can convert.
Right.
You're looking at 3rd and 12 sometimes.
Exactly. Because what's it? You are doing these stupid run plays where, for some reason, my gosh, it goes back to Bernie Parmalee when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
You're running up the middle, hand off to Bernie Parmalee, hand off whoever the running back is. You're doing these same plays we've been doing for the past 30 years.
Well, it's not a problem if you got a good offensive line. A good offensive line makes those plays look great.
Bring back Larry Little, please.
And I think everybody knows there's still nothing going on with the backup quarterback situation. They are going to have to try to find somebody. They were both, Fales and Osweiler, looking abysmal. Osweiler he was just running for his life back there too, but it still didn't look great. Who do you wind up picking up off the scrap heap?
I mean, I will. If I could say my prayers to the football gods, it would be that somehow, some way, the Dolphins are able to get Teddy Bridgewater from the Jets in a trade. Like I said,
they're saying right now you're looking at a 3rd-round pick you'd have to give for him.
Oh, at least. I mean, for the Jets to trade within the division.
Yeah.
Look,
and they're probably going to want to keep him maybe even start him, right? Sam Darnold?
They might.
Give Darnold a little bit of chance to warm up.
Yeah, it might be a game or two, maybe a game or two where Bridgewater starts, but by the time they play the Dolphins, Sam Darnold's going to be the starter. So Bridgewater at this point is trade bait for the Jets, and really good trade bait,
Absolutely.
by the way.
No, but you've got half the teams in the league that are probably in the same situation that the Dolphins are.
And he is a free agent next year. So, for the Jets, they want to get something for him now. So I wouldn't be surprised. Look, because it's not like they have nobody behind Bridgewater. They were starting McCown last year.
Right.
You can keep him as your backup. You trade Bridgewater, you get something for him. If the Jets are smart. So, if that happens, can the Dolphins be players? Can they somehow work their way in here?
Are they that desperate they would give up a 3rd-round pick when there's so much more building left to do?
I think why not? Why not?
Okay, you go for it?
Yes.
If you're GM?
Yes, because Teddy Bridgewater, before his leg got shattered into a million pieces, was actually a really good starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people forget that.
Okay.
He was the starting quarterback.
Bring him home, huh?
I'm saying, man, bring him back down here.
Okay.
And it could have happened already if the Dolphins had just paid for him during this offseason. But no, they had a stupid Ndamukong Suh on there with strapped with this giant yoke around their neck of a $17 million contract.
Yeah, the timing on that was just odd because they were still strapped with that money when he was free and just didn't work out.
So now here we are again, and now they would have to end up selling off a third or second round draft pick just to try to get this guy when they could have had him for $5 million.
So after you see the Dolphins on Saturday night, do you feel better, worse, or the same about this season for your optimism?
Pretty much the same.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people would be more in your boat and say the worse. They would say I feel worse. I feel pretty much the same that I did kind of coming into it. And maybe even a little bit better because Tannehill's out there and he's playing. He's getting back into it.
I mean, you got to feel good about that. If you want to shine the bright lights, you're Tannehill. Amendola had something going on.
Right.
Gesicki starts catching the ball. Kenyon Drake looks like an actual stud. I mean, he looks like he's going to pick up where he left off at the end of the season.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of positive, and you're right. The defensive ends look fantastic for the Dolphins.
I'm saying there are some encouraging signs.
There are some bright signs.
Just going to say.
Coming up here in a couple of minutes, Tom Brady just today, not real happy. He does an interview and hangs up on a Boston radio show. They keep punching a very sensitive point for him. Does this point actually mean problems for the Patriots coming up this year? And their odds for winning the Super Bowl are less than they have been for a while. There are finally some cracks in the armor. We'll talk about it next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
There's been a lot of rumors about the relationship going on with Tom Brady and his head coach. And it seems like a lot of it stems with the trainer that you've seen on Tom versus Time that Tom Brady has had with him, Alex Guerrero. And they've got the business going on together, and Guerrero's training a couple other guys that are on the Patriots. And last year, reportedly, Guerrero was kicked off the team plane, wasn't allowed on the sidelines, basically just said, hey, stay away from other players. You know, they come out, and what do you know? He gets possibly one of the Patriots receivers, which they're very slim on these days, suspended for a couple games for the performance-enhancing drug stuff.
Careful, Kev. Tom Brady might hear you. He might call in and then hang up and make him angry.
He did an interview today he hung up on. You can tell he just does not even entertain it. I listen to this, too. Do these questions seem like they're out of line?
Honestly, I didn't think they were, but
okay,
see what everybody else thinks.
This happened just this morning with Tom Brady on with the Boston radio show.
So we saw the reports this weekend that Alex was on the team plane, which he wasn't for the second half of last year, I guess, and not on the sideline. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he was with me this last week, so it was
So what changed in him not being on the team plane last year and this year? Was that just communication back and forth, or was that an understanding of other things? What led to that being able to happen this year?
You know, I'm not getting into all that.
Okay. He had said in his opinion that all this stuff had been overblown, that he and Belichick actually had a pretty good relationship even then. Would you say that was true?
I said I don't want to get into it.
Whoa, hey now.
Oh, yeah.
Getting testy.
Tom lady.
Okay. Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah. I mean, everyone knows it's well documented how, the work that he and I do together.
No, I know. I understand that. I'm just trying to figure out, because I saw the reports this weekend that he's traveling with the team. Was he on the sideline on Friday?
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Man.
He's out.
Very testy in his older age, isn't he?
Yeah, well, what's that all about?
I think he's just it is, look, all kidding aside, it is kind of odd, isn't it? Like, why are you so defensive about this? Like, what is it, just because you consider this guy like a really good friend, so you don't want to say anything that might like incriminate him? Or
I mean, it just gets,
I don't know.
It makes you feel like what people are saying is true, correct? That there is a lot of tension based around this, and there's still a lot of tension that's happening with the Patriots.
It feels that way. I mean, because, all right, put yourself in Tom Brady's shoes. If someone's going to ask you a question that in the back of your mind you think to yourself, look, this is a really...
It's not a big deal. I kind of laugh it off. Be like, going, hey, some things happen, whatever.
But if it's something that you got into an argument about over somebody, then it's going to be something in the back of your head, yeah, I don't really feel like talking about this. So there's some type of animosity in the back of his head connected to this situation that's making him think, I just don't want to talk about it. There's a lot of bad feelings surrounding this.
I don't know if anybody's panicked yet either, but, Eric Decker, he retires.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. I picked Eric Decker in a fantasy draft.
Did you really?
I did. This is why I hate doing fantasy drafts early. I picked a guy who retired. That's what I did.
So it's not a good sign for your fantasy team.
No.
How you know your fantasy season's going to suck? You just picked the guy that retired.
It was like one of my last picks. He was still there. I'm like, I'll take a chance on him.
Yeah,
thanks.
that's not going well.
No.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. They've put the Patriots at their lowest odds to win the Super Bowl. Now, of course, they're still favorites because you just got to give them the benefit of the doubt. But
They're just lower favorites.
I think people are at least starting to doubt. There just seems to be chemistry issues that's going on, and just the personnel doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not doubt at this point? Look, I mean, you just said it, the personnel doesn't seem to be there. I understand in previous years, like if you're going back 15 years when you're talking like Troy Brown and Kevin Falk and guys like that, and they were still able to win. But I mean, come on, like who does he have? Yeah, he still has Gronk to throw to. I mean, Amendola is gone. Edelman's out the first 4 games. When he comes back, he'll have Gronk and Edelman, so that helps. But aside from that, Chris Hogan and some other guys, I mean, there just isn't that much.
Is there any chance they would grab a Dez Bryant?
From what I'm hearing, they don't want him, which is kind of strange, isn't it? Because Belichick is the kind of guy that will go after guys who have had maybe some previous headaches in other teams, a la Randy Moss.
Yeah,
so if they don't want Dez, then what's going on with Dez? If they got Randy Moss on their team,
Weird dynamics, dude.
very strange.
Weird dynamics here at the Patriots.
It's not like Dez can't play anymore,
Yeah.
right? I mean, are we wrong about this?
I
Is he
don't
terrible now?
I don't necessarily get it either. It seems like a viable target, and it looked like maybe he would go to the Browns, but I mean, with Norman coming back, do they really need him? I mean, how many receivers do the Browns need? They seem like they're pretty set at the position, right?
You got
Jarvis Landry.
You got Josh Gordon coming back now.
Gordon coming back.
I mean, who else do you have from on the receiver end? There are a couple of guys there. It's just for some reason I'm drawing a blank on the rest of the receivers on the Browns. But when it comes to what the Patriots want to do, it's just very strange. And for some reason now too, the Browns, from what I saw, were actually offering Dez Bryant a contract, and he turned it down.
Did he really?
He said it wasn't enough money.
Okay.
So what is Dez Bryant doing?
Yeah, he did that with the Ravens too.
Yeah.
How much can he hold out for?
This dude's not going to play on a team.
Probably not. Well, it's starting to get the starters together for college, which is going to be coming up. Some huge games week 1, man. I love how they're starting off here. Your Canes, obviously, they got a big game. LSU right around the corner.
Sunday. I know we'll talk to Joe Zagacki again on Wednesday, so we'll be right before that game. It'll be fun to talk about that. Man, that is Sunday. Wow, that's coming quick.
Yeah, looks like they've got redshirt freshman Kate Weldon and Nkosi Perry. They've kind of separated themselves. Jaron Williams, the freshman, coming in. Looks like those two are pretty much battling for the backup there, which hopefully they don't need that. So
hopefully, yes. Hopefully.
Probably a non-story there. Willie Taggart just announced this morning that DeAndre Francois going to be taking over the reins again when the Noles take on Virginia Tech on Labor Day.
All right, so it's kind of what we were expecting. I know when we talked to Chris Felica a few weeks back, the Bear from College Game Day, we brought that up about it's got to be Francois, right? So
thought so. Yeah, it seemed like it made sense. You know, they had, I guess, technically last year there was a competition. He beat out James Blackman, who wound up taking a lot of the snaps after that first game.
And you know what? For Florida State fans, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Canes guy, but you and I remember how James Blackman played last year, and it wasn't great.
No,
So isn't it kind of concerning if you're a Florida State fan that they were having that much trouble deciding who's going to be the starting quarterback between him and Francois?
They put up that smoke screen that there was a lot of decision.
So you don't think there was?
No.
Okay.
When I kind of read it now, it seemed like Francois just has a lot better control. There's a lot more accuracy.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he had 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions when he got to play the year before, also rushed for 5. Blackman, comparatively, in his 12 games, had 19 touchdowns to 11 interceptions.
Wasn't that great?
No. There's no surprise there if you're a Noles fan. I think you probably knew that already. And then Felipe Franks is going to get the starting job for Florida in the opener against Charleston Southern. So that's what's going to be going down with that. Had some big high school games happen over the weekend. It went down. In fact, you could even say possibly a little bit of an upset, too, with a few that went on. You had Deerfield Beach beating Chaminade Madonna 13-10. That was a close game. That was number 8 versus number 7. And that Carroll City is won. American Heritage Plantation had a 28, I think, game win streak going into that game.
Wow.
Carroll City beat them 34-16.
That is huge. I mean, they left no doubt there, too.
Yeah.
That's big.
Miami Central beat Cardinal Gibbons. Those are two nationally ranked teams. Number 13, Miami Central versus number 19, Cardinal Gibbons, 48-21. Central's looked dominating so far. Atlantic came back, beat Palm Beach Central 14-0. Dwyer all over Park Vista, one of the big games. And the team that knocked off St. Thomas Aquinas last year and won the state championship lost to Vero Beach on Friday night. Venice, 42-20.
So odd.
Yeah.
High school football is like that sometimes, though, with kids graduating and
You just never know what you're going to get.
yeah.
Never have any idea. So on Saturday night on ESPN2, you had St. Thomas Aquinas going up against nationally ranked DeMatha, Maryland. Pretty big game. St. Thomas Aquinas really showed out. They had a great game.
It did.
Yeah, in Fort Lauderdale. Coming up here in just a couple minutes, head coach Roger Harriet is going to be joining us to talk about all the action from Saturday night.
Yep, he's here too. It's Kevin's Other Show, right here on 640 The Hurricane.
Big opening weekend high school football here in South Florida. I don't know if you got to check out the Deuce on Saturday night. St. Thomas Aquinas in a matchup of nationally ranked powers took down DeMatha 38-0, and Coach Roger Harriet had a nice little pregame pep talk for the boys.
Let's take it to them. Do everything that you have. Leave nothing. Leave it all on the field. Between the whistle. You win every second, every play. You put it on everything. All that you love and everything who you are and what you believe in. The standard that we have here is real.
And it was. Boy, they showed it, put it on display
Yeah, I'd say. It
Saturday
was
night.
Just a bit of a beatdown, just a little bit.
Got Coach Harriet on here with us. Congratulations, Coach, on a very impressive win on Saturday night.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it, guys. Who was that guy? Who was that guy that was talking?
Whoever it was, I don't know, Coach, but he got me. I'm ready to run through a wall right now. I'm just telling you. I'm fired up, man. It's great.
Oh man, thank you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there was basically every phase of the game I thought was really impressive. Was there something you walked away from with the game on Saturday night and felt better then, or you were more impressed because you didn't know exactly how good you were going to look in that phase of the ball?
It's always difficult when you're dealing with student athletes at this level. You don't really know how they're going to respond. You can do your best from a psychological standpoint to emotionally prep them and mentally put them in the right place, but all you can do is pray and hope for the best with regards to their confidence and performance, how they're going to execute, and just teach them from an automaticity standpoint. And they responded, and what I liked from the whole experience was that we faced adversity early, and it showed that we have the type of character and mentality, leadership within the team to overcome some difficult transgressions. We went. I think we had a first down, and then we went 3 and out, and we punted the ball, and our defense stepped up and they were running around like their hair was on fire and got the ball back a few times, and then the rest was history. DeMatha is actually a really good team.
Right.
We were able to capitalize on some of their misfortunes. Obviously having home field advantage definitely plays to our benefit. We're out here in South Florida. It's going to be sometimes it's shiny and humid, and sometimes it's rainy. Yeah. And we were prepared for the elements. Not saying that they weren't. I just think that just being at home and sleeping in our own bed and getting after them was advantageous for our cause.
Yeah, I don't know if they just weren't ready for. I don't know if the ball was slippery there. But you guys definitely took advantage of 3 turnovers that happened pretty quickly, and you guys were playing with a short field for most of the game.
Yeah, they fought. Our guys did a great job of actually forcing turnovers. So at times, maybe some sort of mismanagement with regards to the exchange and the running back, but these turnovers happened downfield with. The strip drills and some of the knockout drills that we've been practicing. So it was really gratifying to watch that come to fruition.
Yeah, I think there was one turnover actually, Coach, where you guys just literally ripped the ball out of the player's hands, right?
That was Jamar Brown. That was Jamar Brown. One of the guys held him up, and the next tackler came in for the ball, and it's something that. Our defensive coordinator, Mel Riley, Coach Madison, and Coach Taylor, they do a good job of practicing that actual drill. So kids are creatures of habit, and we have a very, very healthy environment when it comes to meeting expectations of what, and I'm proud of the way our guys responded on Saturday night.
Talking with St. Thomas Aquinas head coach Roger Harrod here about the big win on Saturday night over a nationally ranked program. There were a couple of players to me, and you've got, 8 of 11 on defense are committed to D1, and, you just got household names all over this. But your quarterback, Kirk Castile, I was impressed with, one, how mobile and how poised he was, and another offensive player, Jamal Cooney, 2 touchdowns, just had an unbelievable game. He had that great kick return as well. These guys, I think, are probably on a lot of people's radars after the game on Saturday.
Well, Kirk's already committed to Harvard, and he had a few Division I offers and some interest, but that was his choice. Cooney has some interest from some mid-level Division I type programs, but those guys are exceptional role models and leaders, and they're program kids. They waited their turn. They handled adversity early on in their career the way you're supposed to. Most kids who are on football teams of this type of magnitude typically want to play right away, especially in a society, this type of society where there's nothing but instant gratification for kids. So it's a testament to their actual parents and their surroundings that they were able to, withstand some of that frustration, go through the process, and trust it. And now here they are. I mean, Kirk had a really difficult adverse situation last year where he won the starting spot, and things didn't really happen the way he planned, and ended up losing the spot to Derek Wingo, who's also a phenomenal athlete, and came and had Kirk had a great offseason that kept his mind focused on what he wanted to accomplish, and went through a whole offseason of competing against two other quarterbacks, one committed to NIU, Mariano Valenti, and Kyle Lingle, who's also an exceptional talent. So, I'm proud of Kurt. I'm proud of the way he responds. He's a great leader, and he's a very good representative of our school in general.
Talking to Aquinas head coach Roger Harrod here. I don't know how many other high school programs routinely have NFL Hall of Famers on their sidelines coaching their kids.
Yeah, really.
You guys just rotate them in and out. Jason Taylor, just watching him on the sidelines, man, what a spark plug. Obviously, what the kids have got to just think looking up to him. But you as a coach, too, who's been around, what are you learning from his energy and his approach with the kids that maybe like, I love how he's doing that, what he's working with our kids on that?
Well, I mean, it's not different. Once you're around guys like, Jason and Darrell Williams and Quan Russell and Sam Madison, we have Glenn Holt and Torian Wilson. All those guys played at the highest level, and you can see exactly why. It's not only that they really enjoy the game, but they're passionate about life. They really know what it takes to make the most out of opportunity, and they don't like disappointing. They really don't, whether it's being on time or showing up for a specific event. They make themselves accessible and available, and when you're in the industry of people like we are, it's important to show up and show out and give your best effort. And obviously at St. Thomas, the expectations are high. We have clear standards of what is required of you, and those guys do a good job of conforming to our culture. But I learned. As far as learning from Jason, he's a very balanced individual. He definitely has a sense of professionalism about him. He has a real intensity. He gets after it. He's hardworking, but he's also got a sense of a collegiality about him too. He cares about the well-being of other people, and suggestions matter to him. He doesn't try to impose his will or his presence on anyone. He wants to make sure that everybody feels valued, and that that he's going to give his best effort. So I think he's in the right environment that's conducive to his type of personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Aquinas coach Roger Harrod here. I know this is completely against coach speak, and this is not something that you ever do, but I just want to put on your radar, I'm sure you're aware, Miami Central has been looking dominating, and Deerfield Beach had a nice little upset win over the weekend. Do you do anything when you know you've got a gauntlet, I believe, of both those teams back-to-back coming up here in September? Do you look a couple of weeks ahead when you know you've got just a gauntlet of the schedule that's coming up where it's like we might need a little extra scouting or a little extra preparation for something like that?
From a humanistic standpoint, you and I both know it's really hard not to, see, formidable opponents. For us, though, it's imperative that we don't look ahead and we focus on what's in front of us, because every single team we play is a championship game to our opponent. And if we have any type of letdown, then that can be a potential a loss. You never know, or a player can get injured, not taking an opponent serious. So, fortunately for us, we're in a situation where our opponents think highly of us, and we take the right approach with regards to making sure that we're giving a championship effort every single play against every game. So I don't really encourage talking about games.
Of course you don't.
with not even with the coaches. I try to keep it level. Right, this week we have Piper, and they're definitely not a team that you can overlook. They just beat Norland. And I think at one point they were up on Norland by 3 touchdowns. And they're an exciting group of kids that are getting after it. They have some athletes that have matured over the years, and they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready to get after us. So we have to make sure our heart and our minds and our efforts in the right place. So there's just no room at all for that type of mindset. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. Those teams like Miami Central and Deerfield are exceptional.
Yeah, we can't wait to see those matchups, and every week we know it's going to be exciting. I just want to say congratulations again for repping South Florida so well. You guys look fantastic in every phase on Saturday night. You guys are definitely prepared, and I don't know how upset you guys are with not winning the state championship last year, but look like you play with a chip on your shoulder on Saturday night, Coach.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we want to make sure that we do our best, and winning games is the inevitable. We line up, we want to win and give our best effort. We felt like obviously we let one go, but for us as adults, we use this as an opportunity to help our guys get motivated, and it's a learning lesson not to take anything for granted. So people may call it a moral victory and whatever the case is, but for us it's real life. And at the end of the day, we want our kids to grow up to be champions in their community and manage their families as champions, as husbands and fathers. So
very cool.
That's kind of the main goal and objective for us.
Coach Harry, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again on your win on Saturday night.
Hey guys, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Absolutely. Take care of yourself. Coming up here in a bit, we'll let you know some of the big upsets that did happen on Friday night. Give you a quick little rundown of some high school ball. And also, Marlins are making a very interesting move trying to get you into that stadium. I'll let you know what it is coming up next.
And it's 640thehurricane.com.
Well, lots of news breaking out today. Is Odell Beckham the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I would say he's right there.
Okay.
The best. Man, I've always said no. He's one of the more talented wide receivers.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
But he's not the best.
Yeah, because all right, here's
okay, but you got to pay him by the abilities they have. Antonio Brown, AB, has been like the highest paid.
That's the best wide receiver.
Okay.
He's the best wide receiver for what you were supposed to do at the wide receiver position. Okay, because that's where I'm coming from with this. Antonio Brown is the best in the NFL. Odell Beckham, yeah, he's top 3 for sure. But he's not the best. He's the most talented, I think, when it comes to overall, Randy Moss type of I'll catch it over your head, I'll make these spectacular one-handed catches, flying backwards like Superman.
Right.
It's incredible. But he's not the best.
Right. It's a great show, but if you're talking about what you're going to get out of him,
right.
He is now the highest paid wide receiver, 5-year, $95 million deal with $65 million guaranteed.
Good gosh. I had not seen these numbers yet because this came out a little while ago. I had not seen those numbers yet. That is $65 million guaranteed?
Guaranteed. I mean, he could just be like, go out, break a leg tomorrow and be done, and $65 million in his bank.
Wow. That's
crazy, right?
For a wide receiver. And I know Antonio Brown, I believe, was the highest paid before that contract.
Yeah, I think Antonio Brown was, and as the NFL ranks them as far as productivity, Antonio Brown should be the highest paid at number 1, Julio Jones at 2, Odell Beckham at 3.
Yeah, those are pretty much your top 3 guys.
Then DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green. So that's where they got the top 5.
Yeah.
In that order.
As far as the payment goes. And
I think that's
and also just overall.
Bring it down to, productivity and what they do on the field. But Odell right now is, hey, this is where you got to put up now.
Man. Hey, look, this is something they've been working on for a while, right? We talked about all offseason. Will Odell be traded? Is dysfunction with the Giants too much now? Mm-hmm. But apparently, he got his way.
Hey, this just goes to show the Giants are all in, right? I mean, they got their running back. I guess they still believe in their quarterback. Maybe they can still wring a little bit more out of Eli Manning.
We talked about Teddy Bridgewater earlier. Yeah. That might not be a bad landing spot for him, too, the Giants.
Maybe.
Because what? Eli's got maybe at the most 2 years left.
You'd think.
Not to put down Eli. He's
Hall rounded
of Famer,
down, yeah.
He's at the end of his career.
You're going to have to find somebody. I mean, because you've got a younger wide receiver that you're just paying some serious amount of money to, and you're hoping is going to be around maybe for 5 years. You got a great running back that you draft with the first pick. So we'll see what they wind up doing.
Giants have gone all in, man. And you know what? To my other point, Odell is not the best. Jarvis Landry. Not that he's better overall than Odell, but he's got more receptions. Dude has the most receptions in the NFL over the past 3 years.
Yeah. Sneaky solid.
So I'm saying Odell is more flashy.
And he was wanting what? The Dolphins are going to give him, was it $15 million?
I believe
and he wanted 16 or 17?
Yeah, I think it was 13 actually, and he
was
wanted
it?
more.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
okay.
It was somewhere in there, and it was again, look, it was a few $1 million here and there, and
right.
They didn't want to pay him the entire thing, so now he's with the Browns.
Okay, there you go.
So I will live by that. I know some people might call me crazy saying that he's not the best. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't. That's what I say.
Well, coming up here in a second, got a little bit of O.J. Simpson with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The wrap-up of Showtime's Who is America happened last night. The Marlins, I guess, did okay. They split a series with the Braves over the weekend.
Take it.
Yeah,
Take it and run.
It was 4-zip yesterday. Again, just no run support for Pablo Lopez. It was out there.
They have somebody named Pablo Lopez?
Yeah, Pablo Lopez. I know, right? He's a rookie. Yeah, they think big things of him, but he can't get a win because every time he goes out to pitch, in his past 6 starts, he's only received 6 runs of support.
That's awful.
So he can't get a win. He's pitching okay.
It's just there's no run support.
Yeah. Now, I think it is interesting. The Marlins doing whatever they can because over the weekend they had Star Trek night.
Right.
Yesterday, they were doubling up. They did Bark in the Park where you could bring your damn dog. And then if you had a kid that was in a baseball or softball uniform, they got in free.
They're trying, man.
So they're doing everything they can. And now they're going to be lowering season ticket prices by 25% for 2019.
That is a huge, huge reduction.
And they're going with more gimmicks, too. They're going to look like a minor league team out there with everything they're going to do.
Hey, if they can get up to the attendance of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, then they're doing all right.
Yeah, they've got the second worst record in the NL right now, just ahead of the Padres, and the worst average attendance at 10,088.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So they're trying some different stuff. They're going to do some like getting on the field for maybe the game. I don't know. It's supposed to be for, batting practice. You get to, go chill on the field.
Listen,
until somebody gets cracked with the ball, and then they get a massive lawsuit.
Yeah, that's true, too. You could tell me that one guy is Pablo Lopez and the other guy is, Joey Johnson, and I couldn't tell you the difference, so who knows?
But it's a good strategy because, you go to a minor league game, and do you know the names? No.
No.
People go to minor league games, and minor league, like the Jumbo Shrimp, some nights draw better than the Marlins,
They
and
do.
they're your Double-A franchise in Jacksonville.
And don't even get me started on the baby cakes. That team is like the Yankees of the minor leagues at this
Yeah,
point.
oddly enough, they don't draw as well. Actually, I think Jacksonville does the best
Do they
in
do the
all.
best?
Yeah, in all their minors. But they do gimmicks, and they make it a
Right.
fun family, outing. And so the Marlins are like, screw it. I mean, we don't have the marquee players people are going to come out for, so we got to do gimmicks.
Can't beat him, join him, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Is what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. So who knows? And good stuff too for the Yankees. You can listen to right here at 640 The Hurricane. Quietly, only 6 games behind the Red Sox now.
That's right.
Closest they've been since August 1st.
Careful. Finally, they have 32 games left this season. 6 of those games are against the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. And 3 of those games are a 3-game series in Boston to end the season.
They got 32 left in the season, so it could happen. It's just, again, the frustrating thing for me with baseball is what you're talking about, a 1-game play-in,
I know.
which is like that would be the series you would want to see 7 games.
Yeah. And could you imagine if the Yankees do end up overtaking in the AL
It'd be
East,
amazing, yeah.
and then Boston has to play
Right.
a 1-game playoff after the season they've had?
Insane, right?
Incredible.
That's why baseball's still not doing it right. Sacha Baron Cohen wrapped up Who Is America on Showtime last night, had on O.J. Simpson, and the character he was doing for this, he punks like all these, celebrities, politicians, all that stuff. He was this Italian guy named Gio, who's supposed to be a billionaire playboy and fashion photographer from Milan, who does this show called The Diamond Life of Gio, and he traveled to Las Vegas with O.J. Simpson, who he described as a woman's rights activist.
It's amazing.
And all it is just a series of murder jokes.
Yes.
Is O.J. Simpson awkwardly sits there and laughs uncomfortably
That's right.
as he just mocks him right to his face.
Actually, you know what? Let me introduce my girlfriend, and then we talk a little business. Okay. Hey, sei bella oggi. Sei bella oggi.
She doesn't know who
Sei
he
bella,
is.
sei bella Buffalo Bill. Sì, Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill, football americano.
Ma va,
I played a long time ago.
O.J. Simpson, Naked Gun, 1, 2, 3.
Naked Gun.
che ne so io del Naked Gun?
But it doesn't matter.
I'm so embarrassed.
But they're funny movies.
O.J. Yeah, la 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 la
Doing a
la.
He's
stabbing
making
motion.
a stabbing motion, yeah, like he's murdering her. And she's like, oh, yeah, listen to this. Now.
Mamma mia,
Oh, yeah, she knows that. Oh, jeez. Help me.
ragazzo!
She knows him for murder.
It's so bad, man. How
That's
does he
it.
do this stuff?
Oh, it's unreal. And OJ's just sitting there just laughing nervously and just taking
Yes.
it pretty much the whole time. And then his girlfriend gets up and walks out and he's just basically talking about how he wants to kill her.
No, but I've been a very unlucky in love. My ex-wife.
You seem lucky in love to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I don't love her. Sometimes I want to completely kill her.
Stop!
No, if I do, you introduce me to Cochrane.
Yeah, Johnny,
Introduce me to
I would have
Cochrane.
to introduce you in the afterlife.
What, you didn't kill him too, did you?
Kill him soon.
How does he do? How does he find the fortitude to say what he says?
It's
to people?
unbelievable. Yeah, that's what he does. And I just
Oh
love
my gosh.
OJ's just sitting there taking it and just
Yeah.
like laughing nervously the whole time.
Someone,
want you to be 100% truthful how you got away with it. That's what he
Hey, I didn't get away with nothing.
Yeah, I didn't get away with anything with my wife either. She committed suicide. She got depressed and she put herself into a bag full of rocks and then managed to drag herself into the sea. It was not
You weren't charged, so good for you.
he says this stuff.
He's
there.
just saying it right in front of OJ. He's just, oh my gosh.
Drag yourself into the sea.
Yeah, just taking it.
What I hate about the press is you make one a tiny little slip, and that's all they remember you for.
Yeah.
You're not the OJ, the touchdown. You're not the OJ, the movie star.
Yeah.
You kill 2 silly people, and suddenly you're OJ, the murderer.
Stop.
Come on.
At no point that I saw in this whole interview does OJ just get up and walk
He
away.
doesn't. He took it the
No,
whole time.
The entire time.
I mean,
Yeah.
to Sacha Baron Cohen's credit, he must have been thinking, let me see how far I can take this before OJ just says,
Well, I
I
think
had enough of
that's
these.
all he does. He just sits there and he's just, when he knows it's uncomfortable, he knows this is good.
And he never left.
He never left. No.
Unbelievable the stuff he said to him.
Yeah, if you want to see the whole clip, we got it up on our Twitter. You can go check it out right now. Kevin's other show. Check us out on YouTube as well. Just go to the KVJ Show. We're right there, and you can always listen to the podcast. Look for it. Download it. Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ Show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.